Alright, welcome back to the shop. You ever hear of this guy? Charlie Major. Pretty good. Check him out. See what I got cooking. So, I had a couple projects come up that needed large half-lap joints. I did the door, all the corners half-lap, and then that center support is half-lap. So I'm doing a gate right now for my pool stairs, and I wanted to do it as strong as I could for this thing because it's 4 feet across. So there's a lot of weight out there. So I figured half-laps, and I got a pretty good setup of how I do it. Let me show you real quick. I made a jig, and I saw somebody on Facebook do one similar to this, and I just kind of tweaked it a little bit to do what I need done. Basically, I'm doing 2x4s right now, and I'll give you a little quick demonstration. Basically, I set the width of the 2x4s, or whatever material you're working with, 2x6s, whatever. This is adjustable, right? So that supports your material this way. This is how you get your 90s down in this corner. It's referenced off of this, and then that corner down there. So all this is doing is squaring up that second piece to the first piece. Lock it in. You don't have to do it real tight. All right, just snug these up. All right, so that's the width of your material. That's going to be the width of the half lap for that 2x4 to come in here. So basically I made a platform. Stick your 2x4 in there, right? There's slack this way. Well, we're going to get rid of that in a second. Again, that's good for 2x6s too, so that's why I left it this way. So you just bring it up into that corner, right? Set it down in there, clamp it. Man, there's a car racing out there. Freaking horsepower nowadays is just incredible. Sounds like the freaking Daytona 500, some of them cars. Anyway, clamp it towards you, and then there is a little bit of slack here, so I just use a couple shims, right? So now that it's locked in there, now what you need is a router. This is my router that I have for this project, and I've created a large plexiglass base plate. Doesn't have to be that large, just what I had, but that way this thing's not falling off of these supports here. So either way you go, it's going to stay on there. Okay, let me show you how let's do this real shallow. Let's do a shallow cut, show you what I got. Before I do that, what I have in the router with the base plate, I have a pattern bit, and it's the pattern bit has got a bearing right there that's the same diameter as the cutting edge, and that bearing will ride along these two edges, and it'll cut straight down. So it's a perfect cut. Let me adjust this first. Give me a second. All right, check this out. So if I can get a good angle on it. Probably not. Fire this thing up. Right now that bearing is hitting that edge, and it'll hit this edge, right? So get into the wood. done a lot of half lap joints in a lot of different ways. Nothing beats this. Definitely do it outside though. Let me show you what I got. So there's the one. Get these out. This off. Super clean. Super clean. Good bit. Right? Now for the half laps, you're going to take off half this material and then half on the other board. So here's the second board. Stick this one in there. Right? Pull it in. Clamp it. Super fast. Just make sure it's held down. Doesn't need much. Second one, it's already set to that depth. Pop you out of here. Hardest part about this is setting the right depth. Don't do this inside. I think I already said that. I mean, it doesn't get any faster than that for half lap joints. You don't need to clean them up or anything. It's done. So if my depth was set correctly, these two would just go together, right? Then they would be half lapped. But I got a long way to go. But just showing you what it looks like. I mean, these things are tight, man. That's just doing it by hand. It's a freaking tight fit there. This one's pretty tight too. All right. Be adjusted a little bit. Yeah, so that's a half lap jig right there. So, I don't know, it's pretty simple to make. I'm not going to answer a lot of comments on what are the measurements, this, that, and the other thing, but basically, you know, you get your two big rails on the bottom. This whole setup here is one piece, it's adjustable. I mount that, and if I'm doing end half lap joints, you got to have something that's going to stop that board all the way at the bottom of that board, because once you lose your half of your lap, you have no more support. So you got to go pretty deep with this piece of support here so it'll catch it. That was a problem I had earlier. I had to fix that, right? Because if you're doing a half lap and all your material is now gone and the stop is too high, this board's going to go right underneath that. So you need to make your stop kind of deep. I didn't go all the way just for dust and everything to get clearances in here, right? But it just stops the board from going any further, and that's the same. I mean, it's all flush right here. All that is flush all the way to the bottom. So that board just sits up against it. The reference mark rides off of this one, and then it rides off of this edge, right, with that bearing. Yeah. So, pretty basic. And then I just made it a little, these boards a little wider, so I got something to clamp to. But not a bad little jig. If I have to do half laps that are in the middle of the board, right? If you wanted to do one there or something, so you'd have to make this thing that stops going to screw you up. So you'd have to do something different. You have to pull that off, and your board can go all the way through there then. So something to think about. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Happy Memorial Day. A lot of people gave up their lives for our freedom. So never forget that. Teach your kids that. Freaking communists won't want to teach them that. The Bible says, greater love has no man than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. John 15:13. So true. Anyway, that's my project. This is my gate for my stairs. The beginning of it. Half laps, then I'll pin them. I already cut the pins. So once those clamps are off each corner, I'm going to put two pins in there. That's extra strength, and then I'm going to put a cross brace from top corner to bottom corner. So I'll show you that when it's done. Talk to you later.